So I know you both are just like massive game collectors on like a level that I just could never ever be. How did you get to like the level that you are, and how do you go about like picking up new stuff for your collections?
10 years plus of collecting is the first step, and not having a partner and kids is the second step. To be like, no, you need to spend money on bills. I haven't got that thing on my shoulder, you know.
Yeah, I guess that helps.
Being young, irresponsible. I started this when I was 18, so like I don't drink. I spend all my money on video games. I don't go out. It's yeah.
That's a huge point. I don't think people understand about collectors or people who are into that. Like, they don't tend to spend a lot of money on vacations, fancy cars, fancy clothes. We don't give a shit. We just want games and more games, and then more expensive games. So that's like it's a very interesting thing. So first off, I would just want to say, like, I am not a serious collector. I used to think so. No, not anymore. Not after doing the show for as many episodes that we've done. Not even close. I'm a slightly above amateur level. I'm like warming the bench in the minors compared to some of the people who've been on this show. We have had guests on that are absurd. They have like full sets on full sets upon full sets upon full sets, and they have rare things that are never been seen by humans, like, ever. It's just like I don't know. So I try to. I'm very humble, I think, when I look at it.
Just drop that off.
I don't think that I am like a crazy collector anymore. But like, I don't know. The way I pick stuff is I'm very, very selective, to be honest with you, at this point.
This sounds like a conversation you have with the missus. I'm not that crazy. These guys are way more crazy.
True. It is. I show them all the time. I'm like, thank God for Sid Cooper. Oh God, Sid Cooper, that guy, man. Thank you. Double Jump Games, man, keeping it real.
Oh,
his collection.
The last game room.
His game room is.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So when people like that exist, how can I possibly say I'm a serious collector? No, I am not. No way. I'm an avid enthusiast for sure, but like, just, I don't know. But also, like, the idea, like, I could never go for a full set of anything really. Other than I did the PSVR, that was fun because it's a small set. It was like 150 games or something. I could do something like that. That's kind of fun or whatever. But like, oh man, going for like the full sets of the full libraries for systems and stuff is just wild.
It's not worth it either. I collected a full set, and I've since sold a lot of those games. All the shovelware titles, all the games that meant nothing to me. I went through and sold them all. I went through and, you know, when you buy like your standard edition DLC Game of the Year, I just kept the Game of the Year edition, sold all the standard ones. So I kept one copy of each game. And I'm happier looking at my collection this way.
Yeah,
I don't look
100%,
at,
yeah.
You know, I don't have 20 Madden games anymore. I don't have 20 FIFA games anymore, and it looks so much better to me. I'll never go for a full set again, but what I am into now is subset collecting.
Me too.
So I like picking up all the Atelier games, or what I'm doing right now is trying to collect all the Pokemon games, which is a mammoth task in itself, but, you know, it's not going for all the, you know, 3DS games, for example. So every game I'm picking up, I'm kind of interested in because I love Pokemon. So it's cool.
Yeah, I feel like you get to a point where, you know, you accrue like this like, I've done it a handful of times where I've just over months and like a year, I've just picked up a bunch of random stuff for some reason, and then I just sit and look at my game shelf and I'm like, why do I have some of this stuff? And I'll do like a clear out and I'll sell a whole, like, you know, stockpile of it, and then I feel much better looking at it versus like seeing a big list of games in front of me, like it's smaller and more curated and they actually mean something to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I'd like to say the same, but I've still got like 5,000 games. 3 rooms or 4 rooms of the house are full of video games. But yeah.
Yeah, that is so wild.
One of them's stuff for sale, but still. And then another one's like consoles and collector's editions. But
Yeah,
they take up a lot of
they
room.
take up a lot of space.
Yeah, it makes the room feel like it's full of video games, even though there's probably like only 100 pieces in there.
Yeah.
I wanted to touch back on another thing you asked on how you acquire new items. I find today I can't just leave the house and go and buy something I don't own because it's probably something I don't want. Like I have lists of all the games that I'm after on multiple systems, and 99% of them I have to go online and order. So it's a matter of, looking for the cheapest deal and knowing prices and constantly looking, like, oh, this is, 20% after what it usually, below what it usually goes for. So I'll buy this today. Or like just this week, as I mentioned, I'm going for the Pokemon games, and a Ruby popped up on eBay that was the best condition Ruby I've seen since I've started looking for one, and it was an auction. So I'm like, all right, this is the one I'll buy. I don't mind if I overspend because I'm overspending for condition where if this one sells, I can't just go and buy it because all the other ones online aren't in this condition. And I end up winning it for less than what half the other ones are for sale right now. So I'm pretty happy.
Yep. So I do impulse buy occasionally, like when stuff's on sale. Like I'll scroll through, like once or twice a week, I go and I scroll through Best Buy, Amazon, Target, Walmart, Woot, like all the major retailers, and I go and I filter everything out. I'm like, get rid of everything that's not in stock. I don't want to look at any freaking pre-orders. Just show me everything on clearance, everything on clearance, everything on clearance. And what I do is like Figsy, I always have a list of what I want in my head. Like it never ends. There's a never-ending list of games that I'm like waiting to get a deal on, and I just wait and I'm like, oh yeah, finally that baby's on sale. Like I'll show one off that I got. Like I've been waiting forever to get this. Like and I didn't want to pay a lot for it because I wanted it because I'm collecting all like the boomer shooters. This is like a Genesis FPS game, but like I know that I'm not gonna play this ever, and if I am going to play this, like I can emulate this on my Genesis like no problem.
Yeah.
So there's just no flipping way I was paying a lot for this, and it finally got put on Amazon for like $19.99, so I grabbed it. And so like I've been waiting to buy that game for 2 years, seriously. And so like I'm super patient when it comes to like games, because once you have a backlog that lasts years, like you should be able to combat the FOMO a little bit at that point, guys. You know what I'm saying? Like
it really takes a long time to really like stop yourself from buying like a new game that you maybe will play if you're lucky, or picking up multiple games that just came out that you have interest in, and you're just like, oh, they're all 60-hour long, like massive stories. Like, am I really gonna play these? So I personally have just really dialed in like I'm buying nothing new. I'm gonna go back and play some old stuff. I'm gonna play maybe a new game if it's like the top of my list of like my absolute favorite style or franchises. But other than that, like I've really like reined it in on like just chill.
I've got rules that allow me to play new games for free, and I've been doing this for 3 or 4 years, and it's worked for me really well. So a new game comes out, I want to play it, I buy it, day one, I play it, push everything else to the side, bust that game out, finish it as fast as possible, and then I have that game on eBay, like within a week of me buying it, selling it, and I get less, like within $10 of what I paid for it. I actually made money on Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart when I bought that and sold it. I made like $10. And the only exception is if it's like an JRPG where I predict the game will be more than what I paid for it in the future. When those games, I don't really go for them day one. So I think the only game I've actually bought and kept was Demon's Souls, and that's still like a $60 game, and I bought it for $90. But all the other day one releases I've sold, and then 4 or 5 years later when they're $5, I rebuy them, and that's how I do new games. And I've been doing this since 2019, and I play almost every new game I want for like $10, so that's awesome.
Yeah, that's definitely, if I could do it that way, I probably would, but I can't. I get like
Nintendo games are the one that I'll keep. So like, Tears of the Kingdom, it's still going for what I paid for it day one, and that's Nintendo's model.
Yeah.
I mean, back in the day, we had Blockbuster for that.
Yeah, basically, it's like renting a game, but I get to open it sealed, and then I get to play as much as I want, and then sell it. And yeah, I think it's a pretty cool system. Like, some games are crap that I bought brand new. I remember buying Sniper Elite 5, and you didn't even get to play the final mission because you got to pay for the DLC. I'm like, I already bought the game day one, and there's DLC. What's this bullshit? And it's the fucking front cover mission. It's like Hitler. This is the mission that they sell the game on, but it's DLC, guys. That pissed me
That was
off.
horseshit. I was pissed.
That's a whole problem in and of itself of like the new game push and everything that they're trying to do and monetization of gaming. Oh,
I heard that.
Well, they don't like people like us. They want people to get PlayStation Plus or Xbox Live, or that's the model that they want. They don't want people buying games anymore. If they had the choice of removing all physical games and only selling digital, guess what? They would do it.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that the gaming industry is in some serious trouble because, the games, they want to make them more expensive and people want to buy them less, and like people have such an amazingly massive amount of games to choose from these days that are really good that it's a hard sell, man. Like, so you could argue, like you said, that maybe like going back to like older generations is really uncomfortable for people, but I think PS3 onward, not really. I mean, I think anybody can play a PS3 game or a PS4 game or a PS5 game and still have a good time, or an Xbox 360
I think so
game.
too. Yeah.
I really do, and so like, I think it was Gaming Off the Grid. Gaming Off the Grid had either a video or a short or something where they were talking about how like that generation, the PS3 and the 360 are going to be like extremely collectible down the line because it was like the last like non-screwed with generation as far as like DLC and online and updates and all this other crap. Like, and that stuff does exist to some extent. There is some DLC and stuff, but for the most part, like the games were complete. They were on the disc. You can play them. You don't need the internet. Like, and so like
Server goes down, they're still playable.
Yeah. And also, and I know, I don't want to go too off topic with social stuff, but like, the culture has shifted so much in our society over the last decade that it's really nice to play old stuff. It's really nice to play like stuff, and it's like, hey, look, none of this stupid message shit is in any of these games. None of them.
Trying to push
None of them. None of them. Exactly. I don't want, like I said, I don't want to derail the topic into that. But like, it's like true. Like, same reason I like to collect like old movies and old TV shows and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, man, is this refreshing? This is great. This is just a good old fashioned TV show, and nothing fucking weird's happening. This is great. Like, I don't know.
Another thing that games do today is the average game doesn't try and sell you on the game, it tries to sell you on the life cycle. So let's use like Fortnite, for example. People that play Fortnite, that's what they play. They don't play anything else because the game's putting out new content every 30 days, new battle pass. You got to pay $30 a month to keep playing it. If you jump on Call of Duty, PUBG, Apex Legends, they're all the same. Every single one has this battle pass system. Some of them will have multiple battle passes. They all want you to keep playing that one game. Like, look at GTA 5. This came out 11 years ago. They still want people playing that one game online, putting money into it. They don't want you playing other games. And the average person plays one game these days. Like, we're the exception, but the average 20-year-old these days plays one game with all their mates on, one console, and that's what they do. And that's, how it works these days.
Half the games are free. That's another huge problem. Well, quote unquote, free to entry, no barrier to entry. But like, that's a tough thing. Like, so if you make a AAA game that's a one-player game and you need to charge $100 for it, and there's all these people out there who can't afford bread, they're probably just gonna play free games. I'm just saying. You know what I mean? Like,
you do have a very good point there.
I'd say the industry's screwed. Like, they're competing with themselves, and they're competing with their past selves. It's like it's not. There's no expiration date. It's not like clothes where you have to buy new clothes because they wear out. It's not like food that goes rotten, so you need to buy new food. It's not like it doesn't have an expiration date on it. Like everything they make is still there, playable, ready to go. Have a good time. It's like I said, they're competing with their own past. It's tough. I don't know. I think they're in deep shit. I really do.
I think it can have different.
A lot of money.
So I played GeoGuessr, and it used to be a free game. And when it was a free game, 90% of the players were cheaters because it was free, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, they've made the game a subscription model. You got to pay for it. It's one of the cheapest subscription models out there. But because you got to pay for it, 99% of people aren't cheaters anymore. And the cheaters that come along get, banned within a few hours of being in the game. So it can have good implementations in certain games, but this is an exception rather than the norm.
I refuse to play free games for that reason, just so you know. I don't like any free games. I want to pay for every game I play. I want there to be a price barrier to entry because, like you said, it eliminates all the little kids and all the freaking, 90% of the douchebags right out of the gate. Just the people you don't want to play with, they can't afford it and they won't spend the money on it anyway. They're playing the free shit. So that's why I like that. And this is an interesting thing. Like Costco, you know what Costco is? Do you guys have that where you live?
Yep.
Figsy. It's like a giant grocery
I haven't been there yet. Well, I'm gonna go this time.
All right, so it's a giant warehouse grocery chain, and like if you want to shop there, you have to pay to shop there, and you have to show an ID. And they've talked to the people, and they're like, "Have you ever thought about eliminating that?" And they're like, "No." Because we make people pay to shop here, and because they have to show an ID to get the thing, it's like they cuts down on like 99% of their shoplifting. Because people who steal, they're not going to give you their fucking ID, and they're certainly not going to pay to shop there in the first place because they're there to steal. So it's like
It's actually brilliant because when they started that, crime shoplifting wouldn't have been an issue as prevalent as it is today. So it's brilliant, really.
Yeah, I'm like,
you
should increase it.
In America, and every single aisle is behind a glass case, and it's like, what's the point of shopping in store anymore? You just do it online. Like, I wouldn't want to go to a shop and have to ask the employee to get every single item I want off the shelf. That's ridiculous.
That's what it's gonna be. Eventually, shopping is you'll walk in and there'll be a little machine like a kiosk, and you just order everything you want on the screen. And then someone will come out and there'll be a little window and they just go, here's your stuff after you paid for it. That's how it's going to be. You're not going to have the option of touching anything anymore.
I mean, like down here, Giant, which is a grocery store, you can literally build your cart in an app online. Everything's there. Send that in. You pay for it. You go. Somebody has literally already shopped the store for you. All your items are bagged up, and you just load your cart.
Well, you don't even have to load it in the car. They load it for you.
And I like that.
My car.
I like that, but at the same time, I like to squeeze my own melons. You know what I mean?
The reason
you know what I mean? I like to slap the meat to make sure it's the right. You know what I'm talking about. It's got to have that right.
Yeah,
you know,
the right firmness. It has to feel good in the hands.
Subtle reverberation.
All right, I don't know where you're going like this. What are we? That's not what I'm.
Do you guys in the States have the same franchises doing different things depending on where they are?
Oh, well, he has Costco.
Yeah.
For us, it's we have Costco down here, but we also have a place called BJ's Wholesale Club.
There's also Sam's Club too.
And then Sam's Club. Well, yeah, they're national though, but it's all the same principle. I mean, they can subsidize prices based on the membership rate, and also they're minimizing shrink. You minimize shrink, you can sell things for cheaper because you don't have to assume that liability of giving away $1 million in product a year to people who are taking it. So I think it's a great idea. Back to like the whole pay-to-play thing, that kind of pivoted off of software as a service, which originated in like PC and Mac software with like Adobe Creative Cloud being like, hey, instead of paying $500 for Photoshop for this year, you can go ahead and pay $50 a month and get all of our products except
or you can torrent it and get it for free.
Right, exactly. And then the gaming industry was like, oh well, when in Rome. And
well, the streaming services that they seen, Netflix works, and Amazon, why don't we try this? And I think Xbox, when they started, they did a brilliant job. Xbox's first couple of years of Xbox Live, Like that was good value. You could
Yes,
sign up for
I agree.
$1 and have access to games that came out yesterday. Like that was great value. But now they're putting the prices up and they're doing the whole like, oh well, if you want to play day one releases, you need the highest tier, and
Yeah.
it's not becoming a great value anymore. And I mean, it's still okay value. Someone that has no games, yeah.
You have
but
to get to that point where you reach that ceiling where you lose that big huge customer drop, and then you're like, okay, this was our cap. Let's sit right here. This seems to be the sweet spot. We'll get them back and we'll make everything right. And we know that maybe instead of the couple dollar increases, we can go maybe $1 increase and just creep it, hit the ceiling, bring it back down. It goes hand in hand with anything. Like with my job, it's the same way. Like, you know, if a customer off the street brings their car to me and they're like, oh, hey, I want repairs. Can you do this? And I'm like, all right, what's the highest number that I can tell them that they'll pay, or they'll walk away? And if they pay, awesome. I'm glad to do it. If they don't pay, that's fine. I have more free time. You got to find that ceiling that you can either push through or you stop and you realize this is the max. I have to leave it here.
yeah, I think that works with all things. Like I could relate it to what I do on eBay, and I'll set a price for all my items, and then the way I do reductions is I have a cycle of 30 days for all my items, and after 30 days of being listed, I'll drop the price by 5% because it didn't sell at that sweet spot. So let's find the next sweet spot.
Yes.
Because I don't want an item sitting on there for more than a month. If an item's sitting on there for more than a month, it's failed me. I want it to sell. I don't want it to sell in a day, but I don't want it to sell in 2 months. I want it to sell in that like 2 to 4 week period. That's perfect.
Yeah.
If you sell an item in a day, it's too cheap. If it's 2 months, it's too expensive.
Also, can I just take the moment to say that a lot of people say they don't like game resellers or people who resell games and stuff, but I am not that way because I like people like Figsy who want to fucking move product, not people who have these emotional attachments. This is my little game that I had since I was 8 years old, and me and my cousin Billy, we used to play it every Sunday, and it's a perfect minty, and I want $1,000 over fucking price charting. Okay, dude. Like, I don't, like, I like almost, like, will not buy from collectors at all because it's such a pain in the ass. I always want to buy from resellers because they're like,
well, you'll see price from collectors.
What's it going for? Price chart says 165. How about 140? Let's go. All right, thank you. And they just want to move stuff. They don't have these like they're not
attached to it.
No, and they
just a number.
They're business. Yeah, and then I'm happy. They're happy. I get a good deal. They get a good deal. You know, I'm good. Like I appreciate them. And also, you know, all these people complain about them. Like, I'm not going out and garage sailing every weekend. I mean, if you are and you can't find anything, your complaints are legitimate. Like, if you're literally like hustling every day and trying to go into Goodwills and trying to find games and you can't because them damn resellers are buying them all.
Okay. They live in the wrong spot.
Yeah, but I bet like 99% of the people who complain about them just sitting on their ass buying it off of eBay anyway, and they're just mad that it's not cheaper on eBay. They're not going out and doing it. They're not doing the work anyway. So
the reselling thing is pretty big in my area, at least. Like, a lot of people that I know and I see on like Marketplace and stuff, like, it is rampant. Like, people are in Goodwills looking for anything and everything they can possibly find to resell. They're scanning it with their eBay apps. They're looking at every little minuscule thing, but they always leave one thing for me where I'm like, thank you. This is exactly up my alley. I am so glad I found this. Thank you. Awesome. Goodbye. Like, that's it. There's always something there to be found.
Yeah, and if you look hard enough, you'll always find something. That's the key with looking. And
yeah, I go to the same Goodwill once a week, and
stop.
I go to the same Goodwill once a week.
Stop. The same how many Goodwills?
I only go to one. I do. I only go to one. And it's,
you got the look.
But I do go to the community aid. But that's the different thing.
I don't count.
I go to the, like, I have like a route where if I'm in this area working, I'll swing by here and I will look for stuff, and I'll either be like, you gotta catch me in the right mood to pick something up. If I'm like, okay, do I really want to go through selling this? Not really. And I'll pass on it, and then I'll leave and I'll get home and be like, God damn it, why didn't I buy that? It's happened to me so many times.
I hear about these all the time. Some nights I just turn my phone off.
You never turn your phone off. Don't you dare lie.
I want to touch back on something that Joe mentioned with the like collectors selling stuff, and this is what I see all the time. It'll be like a Facebook post, 20 cool games, and you're like, oh, that's sweet. And then you read the comments, and 5 or 6 of them have got sold next to them, and then the other prices are the same. And you'll see the same post in like 2 months, and it's exactly the same. They haven't changed the prices. They've still got the sold games all up there and the same pictures. And it's like, I click on it for these ones and they're all sold. You just wasted my time again.
That happens so much to me because that is a thing that I am like on way too much is Facebook Marketplace. Like it's a blessing and a curse, but it is like the bane of my existence when I see the post. I'm like, oh yes, absolutely, give me that. And they're like, oh no, those are all sold. I'm like, okay. And then I'll find another one, and it's the same thing. And I'm like, come on, man. Like, update it.
So that happened to me a little while ago. Somebody was selling 3DS games, and they had one like Project Zone 2.
That's
a pretty rare game.
Yeah, yep.
So it was a banger, and they had 3 games for sale or something like that. And they were, it's like they were like $20 a piece. I was like, hell yeah. I'm buying all them games. I don't give a shit what the other games are. Give a crap there. Whatever they are, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter. That was still a deal just for that one. So of course I messaged them, and this like post was like that day, you know what I mean? It was not an old post. And they're like, oh, I only have 2 games now. And I'm like, never mind. And they're like, you don't even want to know? I'm like, I know you sold Project Zone. Yeah. Never mind. And they're like, yeah, that is the one I sold. I'm like, I know. I know. Of course you did. You're a dummy. Why you only have 3 games? Why would you sell the one? And if you are selling just one, why don't you look up what you have? I saw a post the other day. Oh man, this made me so mad. This lady posted these games, like $60 for the lot, and it was just a bunch of PS2 games, and like literally there was a bunch of Silent Hills in there. Oh God, there was what else was it? Like Dragon Ball Z, Budokai. There was some really valuable games in there. Like, and I messaged her right away, and I said, hey, I'll pay more than your asking price, just so you know. Like if those are for sale, I'll pay more than what you're asking. I said you have valuable games in there. Like I'm not a scummy person at all. Like if somebody has something, I want them to, and also because if you don't say that, somebody will come in and swoop in and buy it in like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And anyway, she just like didn't respond, nothing at all. And then like the next day, there's like 3 new posts from some other seller with all those same games split up into 3 different lots, like 800 for this lot, 600 for this lot, 300. I was like, you son of a bitch.
That's happened to me.
Motherfucker.
The same exact thing has happened to me.
Just drives me crazy, dude. I don't even care if somebody else gets them and they're collector and they're like, yay, and they keep them. But like, it is really irritating when you see that same lot flipped in the next 24 hours for quadruple the price. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. The other thing that I hate is when someone makes a post, it's like a Game Boy and 5 games, and like 3 of them are Pokemon games, and they're like $100, and you're just like, snap that off, 100% I'm buying that. Mm-hmm. And you message them, they never respond, they remove the post, and then you see a new post from that same person, and now it's $500.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
And you're like, you just now did the research, or did enough people message you saying that you had stuff? And then you did the research. Like, why didn't you just do the research from the beginning and avoid having to make 2 posts?
People are weird, man. I don't know.
There's people like that out there. You're like selling something, no idea what it is, and then realize what it's actually worth. I mean, that person then comes down to 2 minds. Like, do I want to do the right thing and commit to this deal I've already agreed to? Or do I want to do the wrong thing and get more money for myself? And it's like one of those moral choices.
Yeah.
Never going to see these people again, but I'll feel right doing the right thing. and you feel bad doing the wrong thing. And karma's a bitch. Like karma gets you back. So
Yeah, like enough of those deals where like you get, a Silent Hill collection for $10 or a Pokemon collection for $20. Enough times and like you've burnt all your bridges at that point. Like the big thing about doing these like Facebook marketplace deals or whatever trade deals or group deals that you do, like relationships matter. If you have a good relationship, a good reputation, people will bring you stuff and are willing to give you deals. It's just the way that kind of stuff works.
it's the same as like the feedback system on eBay.
Yeah.
Like I've had times where I've accidentally sold items cheaper than what I meant to sell it for. Whether it's me forgetting to put a 0 on the end of the number or just listing something and it sells in 5 seconds and then I look it up and I'm like, oh shit, that's not a $5 game, it's a $100 game. I fucked up. I've always sent those items out because if it was me and I bought it, I would be furious seeing that the cancel the listing, relisting it. I would be fucking furious. I'd leave bad feedback. They're all you accept the mistake, you eat the costs up, and that's part of business. It is what it is.
So what other hobbies do you guys have? Are you guys like just gaming, or do you have like other things that you enjoy doing?
Mine's geography. Like the game I play is basically like my other life, and I study this game pretty hard. I tried to make the World Cup this year. There's like an esports scene in GeoGuessr, and I made the like online qualification process. It was 25 of us, and fortunately I didn't make it to the regionals. But yeah, that's pretty much what I do in my free time. I study different subdivisions of countries throughout the world, learning like US phone codes or learning how to read road signs in Russia or Spain, or looking at different trees in different countries and learning like where sugarcane grows or where certain coconut trees grow and where they don't. That's what I'm into. Apart from that, sport. I love football. I love my Chelsea.
I've got a trivia question.
Yeah.
What U.S. state is known for the palmetto?
The palmetto.
A cookie?
Florida?
It sounds like a cookie.
Close.
Like, I don't know what the palmetto is. I'm just assuming
That Pepperidge Farms?
Pepper
Like-
Farm remembers.
Would it
It's
be
not
like
a Milano,
Georgia or
okay?
Alabama?
Not the freaking Milano.
All I know is I'm hungry now. I don't know what we're talking
No, I
about.
was just curious. I wasn't sure. South Carolina. So the palmetto is like a type of palm tree, but it's very short. So it's almost
Yeah.
more like a bush. But South Carolina is known for the palmetto.
Known for the
Okay,
bush.
I'll take that on. I'm actually gonna look that up. I'll take that on note. That while South Carolina matter, I'll hit it to myself.
Have
So,
you ever
yeah.
been to South Carolina?
I've been to America, but I've only been to the West Coast. So I've been to Seattle a few times and LA, and then I've been up to Vancouver as well.
He's been to all the right places.
For video game collecting, yeah.
I don't know if LA is the right place.
Ever been?
No, but I don't think I need to.
Well, that's probably.
Well, he was starting to start his acting career, so.
Oh, those trees. Oh yeah. And it's on the flag. Yeah. I'm familiar with that flag. All right, I should have got that.
It's all good. I'm
We
just having
actually had
fun.
that flag show up in the game yesterday. That's funny.
So what about you, Joe? What other hobbies do you have? What other interests do you have?
I'm a male prostitute.
I've already been through
Fuck
this.
me.
Well, that's his tagline.
So mostly I just hang out, you know what I mean?
Oh, he hangs out all right.
So stupid. So I obviously like the show. I work on the show quite a bit, getting it ready, all this the podcast. That's the thing, booking people and all that stuff. And then I'm really into music, so I play guitar all the time, constantly. Yeah. I like to sing a lot. Like I'm really big into that. Before COVID, I used to like go do karaoke all the time. But like ever since COVID, like most of them shut down, and like they haven't reopened a lot of them, and like a lot of them are kind of far now. And I'm like, I don't want to drive far for fucking
Yeah.
karaoke. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just it's not. It's just supposed to be stupid and fun. It's not serious. I don't want to. It's not like worth going at an hour for. Or something. So I don't know. I haven't really been doing that much, but those are like my big hobbies. Other than that, man, like just hanging out with my dog. Got a German Shepherd. Spend a lot of time with her. I got my girlfriend. You know, doing stuff like that. My fam.
How do you guys play golf?
Not like a lot. I have some friends who are really into it, and occasionally I'll play with them, but really not very often.
That's
Yeah, when I was like 18, we used to go to the golf clubs and smoke weed on the second hole, and by the
That's
ninth
idea.
hole, it was a good time. But no, I haven't done it for like 10 years.
that's our like second. Well, that's my second addiction, I should say. That's what we like to do. We'll do it like we try to go like once every weekend. Sometimes it doesn't work, but I try and go as much as I can because it is just one of those things where like once you start doing it and you like start to be like okay, it's just like shoot it into my
it's
veins,
super
baby. Like, it's so addicting.
Yeah, it's first of all, golf courses are beautiful. They're fucking gorgeous to hang out on. It's like literally like you're in the Garden of Eden.
Some of them.
And then it's fun, and it's like you're outside, and usually you're playing with friends, and like you get to laugh at your friends. So I mean, believe it or not, like golf games are like some of my favorites too. Not just like playing golf, but like actual games. Like I love golf games. I have every Tiger, like every single Tiger, like all of them, from PS1 all the way to PS3.
I love all the everybody golf games.
Yeah, everybody's golf. I love the Mario golf
Golf,
games.
yeah.
Oh,
Wii Sports.
Just pretty much.
The
Yeah,
Mario
and then there's
golf
all
games
sorts
are
of cool
so
ones on the
good.
Switch. Like a lot of cool golf. There's Golf Story, Golf Wasteland, what the golf. There's so many golf games. I should make a YouTube episode about golf games. Seriously, there's so many cool ones. But I love golf in general because it's super fun because you play it with friends, but you're still competing against yourself.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like you are, like your friends have their own score and you have your own score. And yes, you can beat your friends, but really, it's like they have no impact on your performance and you have no impact on theirs. Like it's not like they're pitching and you're swinging and you're missing, and you know what I mean? It's not like their skill against your skill in that way. It's just like your own real competition is yourself in golf.
That is
Like you
the
are just
most
not screwing
true
up.
statement.
Nobody's gonna screw you up but you. It's just you.
Yep.
Yeah,
You-
and so
you
that's
get in
why I
your head
love
and it's-
golf. It's because if you do badly, there's no one to blame but yourself. You can't blame. You know, I guess you could blame my damn clubs. I'm sure somebody out there blames something, but for the most part, it's like a self-disciplined sport, which I really think is cool. And it's funny as hell to watch your friends fuck up in golf, man. It's because it's so serious. Everyone's quiet. It's like, all right. And then just go, boom, they're completely shaking. It's so funny. It's the funniest thing ever, dude. It just always is forever to the end of time. It never not be funny. When you're like, the guy's like, oh, yes, watch this shit. Right in the bunker. You're like, it's so good.
I'm generally
really-
like not really interested in watching golf or anything like that. But last night I watched this like hour documentary on the 2000 US Open where Tiger Woods won by 15 strokes, and it's like biggest winning margin ever, and like full fog days, and he was still hitting like eagles and birdies, and they call it like the most dominant performance on like one golfer of all time, and yeah, it was pretty cool to watch.
2000 Tiger was literally something to behold. It was
Yeah.
disgusting.
Yeah, it was insane.
He's another animal. And like when you watch these people now that are like at the top of their game, and they are just evolving the game, and they talk about like all of their equipment and what they do and their techniques and like the science behind everything. Like it is mind-blowing. The tiniest little thing makes the world a difference on the golf course. From like the way that your ball floats in water and the center of gravity on your ball, to your clubs being just a little more like curved than the average club, or the way that you putt, or the way that you read your putts and set up for your putts. Like, it's so insane, like the wormhole you can go down in just anything about golf.
No, the average person's got what? Like, how many clubs have you got, man?
I mean, I have 2 sets at the moment because I'm playing around with a smaller club face versus like a little bit bigger club face. So it's like you have a smaller margin of error, but when it also gives you a better like sweet spot, so to say. So
Yep.
like just trying to get used to those, and it's a different shaft flex and everything, so it's just playing around with equipment. But usually a golf bag has what, 14 clubs?
So,
I think you can only have 14 clubs. So, and like
That's
the
a
way
lot.
you balance it, and the degrees of like difference between your wedges, and you have to have it's just wild.
fortunately, there's no limit to how many balls you can have in a golf bag, because God knows you'd lose about 2 dozen.
Excuse me, Mr. Andy, how many did you duck hook into trees? Or
I only duck hooked the one.
that's not what I saw on Sunday.
No, I duck hooked the 3-wood on, what was it, 15. And
You
then
hit
I mean,
3 fairways over on the last
that was the
hole.
right.
You
That wasn't
also
a duck
hit
hook.
over to the left.
I didn't go to the left in the last hole. I did hit it like 3 fairways over. I also hit that ball like 370 yards.
Yeah, this man will send a ball to another planet.
Impressive.
But
What have you got on your arm, Andy? The tattoos?
Which one?
Eva. I was looking at the
So
colored one.
That's a Cobra.
V for Vendetta.
Well, yeah,
Or
that's
Guy
one of
Fawkes.
the Guy Fawkes mask, V for Vendetta. I've actually had a couple people be like, "Is that the guy from the anonymous group?" And I'm like, it might be, but whatever. We won't go there. Clover, Snoopy, and Woodstock. That's from my grandpa.
Are you in Cobra Kai? Shit.
Me? Cobra Kai never dies.
I was just watching it, so it's a little fresh in my mind.
Yo, Johnny should have beat the shit out of Daniel, and I would totally sweep the leg.